Hello guys, in this video we are going to learn about type conversions and window.prompt function. So don't worry about these functions. So I call this thing a function and we're going to cover them in our later videos. Just now memorize the syntax. Don't worry what the function is. So what I mean is that console.log helps us to print something, right? So this is actually a function, but you don't know what a function is yet if you didn't learn any programming languages before. So don't worry, we are going to cover them. So let's start with type conversions. We use them in order to convert one type to another. So up until now we have seen 4 different data types, right? And if you want to convert, let's say, a string to a number, you need to use this syntax. Or let's say you want to convert number to a string, you need to use this syntax. So in this video we are going to learn about them. So let's start. Let's first create a variable with the let keyword, and let's say its name is score equals to, what do we want this variable to contain? So let's assign a number to it. So 15 is a number, right? It's a number data type. Then we assign this 15 to this score, which we have created using the let keyword. So in other words, we have a box named as score, and it is currently containing the number 15. So let's print the type of score, console.log type of. So we have seen this keyword in our previous videos. It helps us to print the type that we put after using this keyword. So what I mean is, if I put score in here and save it, it should print the type of our score. So what our score is containing. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. This type of helps us to determine the type of the value that this variable containing, but it determines the type of that value. So what I mean is that score is containing 15, right? It's gonna print the type of 15, which is a number. And you can think of them as this way. So when we see this syntax, console.log type of score, what you can do is that you have a variable in here, right? Its name is score. Just replace it with its corresponding value. So what I mean is, score is currently containing 50. So wherever you see this keyword score, just replace it with 50. It's the same thing as typing score. So when we replace it with 15, it's just basically printing the type of 15. So 15 is a number, so we print number in here. Okay, so what if we want to convert this to a string? What if we don't want to use numbers? So in that case, we use this syntax. So let me create another variable, or no, let's just reassign score by changing the type of score. So score equals to, if you want to convert a number to a string, you should use this syntax. So I'm gonna string with capital S. Pay attention to that, it's important. Parentheses, and inside this parentheses you should put a value, a variable, a data type. So in our example, I want to put a variable which is score. When I save it, now score is, oh, I also need to change this. Okay, now score is a string. So let me explain this line in detail. Score is containing 15 currently, right? Which is a number. 15 is a number. And when I type this syntax, we basically want to change the content of our score to what? we want to change the content of our score to this because we have an equal sign in here. So when we see this equal sign, whatever we see on the right side, we take it and assign it to the left side. So let's first evaluate the right side. In the right side, we have this syntax: string parentheses score. So when you see this capital S string, you should know that whatever you put inside this parenthesis, it will be converted to a string. So currently, score is containing 50, right? So let's replace score by its corresponding value. So wherever we see score, we can replace it by 50. So now our code just turned into this string 15, which is the same thing as having string parenthesis score. Okay, and what this does is that it takes this value inside and converts it to a string. So it makes this stuff. Quotation marks. Inside this quotation marks, we have 15 in it. That's how it converts numbers to a string. Okay, now let's convert strings to numbers. Or before that, I just want to show you one more thing. String score, just to show you that our score is containing the string 15. Also.log score. When I save it, as you can see, it prints out 15, but it's a string, not a number. Now let's change it. Now let's change this 15 to a string and then try to convert it to a number. So in order to convert something to a number, you should put capital N and type number. So score is currently containing the string 15, not the number 15. And if we use this syntax, we can replace score with its corresponding value, which is string 15, right? Then we are left with this syntax: number parentheses string 15. This number works similar to the string conversion, which makes whatever inside this parenthesis to a number. So if you have a string 15, when you try to convert it to a number, it becomes 50. Then when you print it out, as you can see, it prints out 15. When you print the type of score, it prints out number. Okay. And one more thing. Let me type score in here. So what if our score, our variable score, is containing a string that cannot be converted to a number? So what I mean is, if I put hello world in here, or let's just say it world in short, and what do you think this does? So when I save it, we get this: not a number and the number. So what this does is that it will replace this score with its corresponding value, which is string world. So our machine will be thinking like this: oh, we can convert this to a number, right? String world cannot be converted to a number. So what it does is that it takes this whole statement and converts it to a not a number. So not a number basically indicates that it is not a number. I mean, this thing is not a number, obviously. It cannot be converted to a number. So it produces this not a number. But it's important to know that not a number is a number data type. So when I try to print the type of score, which contains not a number, we get number because it is a number data type. So that's the important thing to know. Okay, now let's see window.prompt function. The reason why I wanted to teach you guys about this type conversions before teaching this is because we are going to use type conversions while using this window.prompt function. Let me delete this statements. Okay, so I'm just gonna type something and then explain it. So let prompt equals window.prompt type something. Let's say okay, and then console.log prompt, or let's say input because it highlights it, input, and console.log type of input. Okay, so when I save it, what this code will do is that it will first execute this command and assign it to our input. But what this command does is that it will prompt user to enter something. So let me demonstrate. When I save it, as you can see, we get this. It says type something. It expects us to type something. Let's type something. And if I click OK, as you can see, the thing that I typed is passed to this input. And then when I try to print input, we get something which I typed before. So the way this function works is that it expects you to enter an input and then takes that input, assigns it to this input variable. So the user input will be in this variable. This variable will contain our user's input. Then we print that input, which is something. When we try to print the type of that input, we get strings. So if you wanna play with that input, so let's say, what is your age? And then console.log, let's say we want to multiply our age by 2. Console.log input multiplied by 2. So in this case, it won't work as intended because, as we saw before, this thing produces a string. And we need to change that to a number. So first, let me demonstrate it to you. What's your age? Let's say 22. We get 44. Oh, I forgot something. The way JavaScript works is weird. So what I mean is that it even did shock me by printing 44 because I wasn't expecting that. So JavaScript is a little bit different. So even though input is a string, when you multiply it by a number, you would get a number because that string is actually containing a number. So that's a weird thing that JavaScript does. Don't worry, I am planning on teach you guys about that stuff later. But for now, let's convert this to a number to be clear. So this is what you should be doing if you want to deal with numbers. Because otherwise, if the user entered a text, then this thing wouldn't work like this one. When I save it, what's your age? Let's say 25. We get 50. And the type of our input. Oh, I need to console.log type of our input. Let's say 28. We get a number. Okay, so this thing correctly converted to a number. So that's all for this video. If you have any question, please leave a comment and have a great day.